morning and welcome to the Carla Marie and Anthony Show. My name is Anthony.
I'm Carla Marie.
You are the show, so thank you for being here. Thank you for jumping in the chat if you have the time. If you're trying to, hide this while you're at work, then maybe don't be in the chat. But either way, or I guess you could just, as long as your boss isn't like behind you.
You could just be clickety-clack on your keyboard like a regular day.
There are, what is it? There are usually like little cheats or little websites that people can use during the NCAA season or NCAA tournament, I should say, where it makes it easier to like pull up a screen that looks like you're working.
We should promote
while you're instead watching some of the March Madness games. Wow, Martha said 2 weeks until the kids go back to school. We have turned the calendar.
I did today, this
morning.
To
August 1st.
I know kids in Florida go back, I think, like next week.
Yeah. It's crazy because the second it turns to August, I automatically feel like I haven't done enough.
I literally panicked for a hot second.
But at the same time, I started thinking about it this morning as that panic started to settle in. And, I've been to New Jersey, New Orleans, San Diego, Japan. I'm going to go to Vegas next week. My summer has been good.
We got to do more Seattle and Washington centric things.
I think that's why I feel like maybe I didn't squeeze enough out of the summer yet.
Where's Hannah?
Because I didn't get to do like typical Seattle things, getting on a boat.
I did. Let's get her on the horn though. We'll do a boat ride. Hannah.
Okay. Listen, I'm okay. I'm always down with it. Let's see. Jordan Puyallup, thank you very much for gifting that Tier 1 sub. Appreciate that very, very much. On the list today, Carla Marie. First up, Costa Rica field trip. Let's do that really quick.
Look at us in our fun island vibes today, talking about Costa Rica.
Guess.
We have a group trip planned for next March, which means people have to come with us in order to make it a group trip. And you can sign up for your spot now. You only have to put down a 25% deposit. And we need at least 10 people to go on this trip by
Labor Day, I believe.
Labor Day weekend.
So we got about a month.
And
we'll figure it out.
No, I'm just saying, that's the deadline. So if you're like, I was going to wait till October to figure it out, you can't. But it is a group trip. It is all over Costa Rica. We had a bunch of different spots. We snorkel, volcano hike. And it sounds like so intense when we talk about it, but we are level 3 in the activity world.
Which is like moderate, right? It's 1 through 5?
Yes. So it's
or is it 1 through 10?
5.
Okay.
It's not going to be super intense. There are chill days. It's a good time.
All right. And then we have Carla Marie's movie night on Monday.
All the spots have been filled.
Oh, okay. But even though all the spots have been filled, if you did fill out you're good. The list, you've got to make sure you show up a little bit before the movie starts because it is on a first come, first served basis.
Yes. And then after Monday, I'll start talking about another movie.
You're doing 2?
Well, I'll just tell you what it is now very briefly, just so that you can put it on your cal. August 15th, it's a new movie with Aubrey Plaza called My Old Ass.
Okay.
And just put it on your, save the date, August 15th. And then I'll start talking about it next week because I don't have the link or anything yet. It's just so new.
And then first up on today's list in terms of things we're going to talk about that are new, boneless wings is something Carla Marie put on here, which automatically makes me hungry. Also, I want to give a quick shout out to Jen and Lisa for gifting some subs to the community. Also, we've got to send some good vibes to Meg, who said, my summer definitely didn't turn out the way I wanted. My mom has surgery for cancer tomorrow.
Oh, geez.
Hoping it didn't spread. Please send good vibes.
Send them all your way.
Prayers, good vibes, moon crystals, sun salutations, all of that.
I thought you were going to say send your butthole.
If it helps. I don't know. But yeah, all the good vibes over to
seriously.
Meg. Carla Marie.
Yes.
Boneless wings.
Okay, first I want to start this boneless wings conversation by having Anthony describe what boneless wings are. If you were to go to a restaurant, maybe Buffalo Wild Wings, and you were to order boneless wings, what would you be expecting?
I've always felt like boneless wings were just like a fancy term for chicken tenders.
Right.
Right? Because that's what they are for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I guess I would expect to have chicken with no bones.
Correct. The Ohio Supreme Court says, sir, no, you cannot expect that.
Why?
Okay. This is
what am I not to expect?
First of all, I love seeing when Supreme Courts have to just deal with the most insane lawsuits.
Yeah.
But then they can't have the most insane ruling. So this was a 2-year lawsuit a man in Ohio sued his local wings spot, the chicken supplier, and a farm.
Okay.
Because he choked on an inch and a half long bone, so not that big, was in his boneless wings, got lodged in his esophagus, and had to get 2 surgeries. And he sued them and said, "You can't put bones in boneless wings."
I would agree with that.
Ohio Supreme Court. It was a 4-3 ruling, so it was
close.
very close. They said that the customer was responsible for guarding against an errant bone because it is common sense that boneless doesn't guarantee bonelessness.
Okay, but what about like pitted olives or pitted cherries?
So
am I supposed to expect that there are pits in those as well?
Those who dissent said you're like opening up chaos right now.
What if it says no peanuts?
Yes. So
and you can put peanuts in there now?
That's what the dissent said.
Peanuts, by the way. I know it sounded like I said penis.
They said that boneless actually describes a cooking style.
Right. No, it doesn't.
Okay. So this is what
boneless describes the bones and whether there are bones in that thing or it is boneless.
We've got some Ohio people in here. You can take it up with them. This is their Supreme Court.
Fred, get in here.
So this is what the dissent said. No sensible person has ever written such a thing, talking about their co-workers. They called the majority's logic jabberwocky and reasoned that parents who give their kids boneless labeled chicken expect no bones.
Yeah.
The dissent also favored remanding the civil case to a jury trial so it can be decided by average wing eaters. Because they're saying that, like, the Supreme Court these people don't go to get wings at their local wing spot.
The 4 people who ruled that boneless wings can, in fact, have bones, which just sounds like the sentence itself sounds insane.
Here's what they use as part of this is why we think this. And I was
this is the people who ruled that boneless wings can have bones.
Yes.
Okay.
They said, just as a person eating chicken fingers would know that they had not been served fingers.
Okay. But if I'm eating buffalo wings, I know that I'm not eating a buffalo.
There's some people that probably don't know that, but
that makes no sense at all.
We got our Ohio peeps in here. We got Megan, Fred, and Meech.
Okay, and so what do we have? So it looks like none of them agree. None of them were on this. None of them are Supreme Court justices, apparently.
But I do love that they said,
Ohio.
please send it back to a regular court where people that eat wings. And the dissent warned that this ruling could protect restaurants that serve gluten or lactose or peanuts. When I say, hey, I'm allergic to peanuts, they say, just because it said peanut free doesn't mean it's peanut free.
Yeah, this has to be able to get to the Supreme Court.
The full one. Well, what the hell are they going to do?
I think they would actually rule.
They'd probably be like, sorry, are you pregnant? No.
I think there have been some good rulings by the Supreme Court, and I think that this would be one that better judges, more experienced judges would say.
Where are those?
There are. Listen, the Supreme Court has had some good rulings. I'm not saying all of them. They're not batting 1,000.
No, certainly not.
But it can't end there. It can't end with.
I hope we get to see more of this case.
That is.
To be fair, I mean, it's not just that this guy was like, "Hey, there's a bone in my boneless wing." It was lodged in his esophagus.
Yeah, he had to get surgery because of it. Now, maybe he should have chewed his food better. But at the same time, if you're being told these are boneless wings, then maybe they should be boneless.
And I misspoke when I said how long this was going on for. He sued them in 2017.
Yeah, I mean, especially getting up to the Supreme Court, those things do take a long time.
With COVID.
I mean, going through regular court takes a long time. And then you have to figure it goes through different levels before it gets to that state's Supreme Court. That's crazy. Ohio, you could do a little better.
Sweetie said, so should restaurants say bone-free wings instead of boneless?
I don't know if that would matter.
Does boneless mean just a little bit not?
Less bone than a regular wing? I guess if they made that argument, that it didn't say, that it said boneless, not bone-free, if that's the argument the Supreme Court made, I could say, okay, that's at least, semantically, that's a valid argument. Because it's saying boneless. But the fact that they tried to use chicken fingers as their example.
I mean,
is idiotic.
I think it is actually a great response.
When kids eat ants on a log, they're not eating ants on a log normally.
But that's what they're saying. You're right. They're not eating ants on a log, so there should be bones in your boneless wings. I do not put me on this side of the Supreme Court, but I'm saying that's what they were arguing.
Okay.
You just helped them.
Moving on from boneless wings to the Olympics so far. And this came up while the countdown was ticking down before we started the show. Someone mentioned, I think it was Lenny from Queens, mentioned the sharpshooter from Korea. And how cool, like, all of these sharpshooters look with their crazy, like, lenses. And also, the Olympic shooters in general have the weirdest outfits.
They're just wearing regular clothes.
No, some of them, I don't know, maybe it's the rifle teams.
Oh, whatever one I was watching the other day, the guy rolled up in, like, LL Bean. Well, not even his team's colors.
The guy I wanted to talk about was the guy from the newly branded Turkey, which used to be Turkey, which is funny because growing up with a lot of Turkish people, I'll pull them up. Growing up with a large Turkish community in my church that spoke Turkish, and a lot of them were from Turkey, Turkey is how they would actually pronounce their home country. So now all Turkey is doing in their new rebrand, where they're asking to be called Turkey in like an American accent, is just, hey, call us what we call ourselves instead of Turkey.
Does Italy call us Americano?
I don't know.
I don't think they say.
Turkish sharpshooter. Here we go.
Metagon is what my dad says.
Let's put this guy on the screen real quick. This guy literally rolled up in a T-shirt, his regular glasses.
Oh, he's got earplugs.
There he is.
That's hilarious.
And I believe placed second. Let me get this guy on the screen real quick. It is fantastic.
What's he doing over there?
Let's blow that up. Put it
Who
there.
are we giving an ad for?
Who cares?
Oh, get them out of here.
Here we go.
X that out.
Just relax for a second. Jesus. So this guy right here just rolled up. Doesn't look like he's got special glasses. No thing blocking out one eye. Nothing like that. He's just hanging out in his Turkey shirt and a gun. He's got his hand in his pocket.
I feel like they all kind of did that.
That man looks like he could be in a movie as someone's henchman.
That's impressive.
Right? And he just John Wicked it. He came in, shot, placed second.
I do love that the age range in that competition.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's not like you have to be necessarily physically fit. God bless you. You just have to be very skilled. And you could do that at any age. But what has been your favorite part of the Olympics so far? I know we still have like 3 weeks left, but.
I mean, Stephen Notarosik. Is that how you say his last name?
Which
I love this man. He is the U.S. gymnastics pommel horser.
Oh, he's the guy that like took a nap before? Or was just resting and people...
You leave sleeper agent Steven alone.
Okay, so what's his deal?
He has one job. This Ken's job is pommel horse. And he shows up. He has... I didn't read this article, but I think he does have like... it's not just bad vision. Like he has eye issues. Mm-hmm. So without his glasses, he can't see without his glasses.
He can't see without his glasses.
So he takes them off right before pommel horse. And he said he doesn't need to see to do pommel horse. Yeah. It's all about feeling.
Also, imagine trying to focus while you're spinning around like that.
Then he gets like a 14.8 something. Like he crushes it. And for the first time in like 100 years, I don't know what the exact number is, our men's gymnastics team medaled. I believe they got bronze. And it was just so fun to watch them.
Who normally does well in men's gymnastics? I feel like it's normally like Eastern European.
Like Romania.
Like Romania, Russia, probably, I don't know, Germany maybe. Are there Asian countries that do really well in gymnastics? Like, do Japan and China do well?
I think Japan and China actually do well.
That's one of the few. I know like Simone Biles and the whole, the Golden Girls squad and all of that get a lot of attention. I don't really watch gymnastics. The clips I see look super cool.
It was nuts. Well, artistic gymnastics starts today, I believe.
Is that the dance
ribbon
one?
Dancers.
Do they use the ribbon?
I'm just kidding. I don't know. But it's like the only event that I think I could do.
I'm willing to say there isn't an event you could do.
I could run.
Well, what do you mean by could do?
Okay, wait. Let's keep talking about this. Then we're gonna go back to that.
Because I wanted to ask you, favorite moments so far. You said is that Stephen Jenkins guy. What's his name? Stephen Jenkins is the lead singer of Third Eye Blind.
What did I love watching the most? What almost made me cry? Was it that? There was something that I was like, the first time I actually felt super emotional watching the Olympics. Was it them or it was them? Because they play all their stories beforehand, and one of our guys, his mom died when he was young, and his dad's there watching him. I'm like, man, they're getting me.
They know how to overproduce those feel good stories. Did you see the one clip? I forgot which gymnast it was. She was on the high bar, I believe, and she was doing her like warm ups.
Oh, she bashed her head.
She missed the bar and basically belly flopped from like, I don't know, 13 feet in the air.
It's possible.
Oh my God, I never would have walked again.
Have you seen the meme that it was like soccer players when the wind blows, and it's a soccer player like on the ground, and it's like gymnasts when they bash their head, and she's just still competing.
Yeah, I mean, even though I don't watch a lot of the gymnastic disciplines, those athletes on both sides, men's, women's, every country, they are arguably the best athletes overall in those Olympics. My favorite moments so far, I guess there's three that I would put in my top tier. I understand how great Simone Biles has been. I understand how great Michael Phelps was. I understand how great the U.S. men's basketball team is. I know she gets a lot of attention. I just don't think we give Katie Ledecky enough credit for possibly being. I know she might be tied for women's swim medals. And I think Michael Phelps is the most decorated Olympic athlete that we have. I don't know if we have a more dominant Olympic athlete
in terms of
Katie
like
Ledecky.
She wins by a lot.
It's not even a competition. It is only a competition for second place. Like when gymnasts go up against Simone Biles, they think they can win. When Michael Phelps was even at his prime, he was still not losing, but he wasn't coming in first in one or two events. Katie Ledecky in that 1,500 meter swim, she's literally lapping people in the pool.
It's great because when you watch those, if they don't have the little graphic on screen of who's in the lead, I just see splashing.
Because she's lapping people by
I'm saying in a regular
in general,
race.
Yeah.
But in hers, you can see.
Well, it's
easy.
It's easy in the beginning and at the end, but in the middle, when she's going the opposite direction of people,
is she last?
I don't know. And then it's happened multiple times where when she finishes, there's no one even on the screen with her. That's how far ahead of people she is.
Yeah, that's what Vicky just said. The fact that there's nobody in that final shot.
And that didn't just happen yesterday. That has happened multiple times in her career in that race. So I think seeing her continue to dominate, and she said she will most likely, I guess she still has to obviously compete and qualify. She wants to compete in LA. So this is not her final Olympics.
Angela said, I love how Michael Phelps keeps supporting her and building her up. And it is awesome. Also, I hate the Australian swimmers, and I am
don't they also oftentimes like make fun of Americans?
They did. And you know what? I've been fired up for weeks, and I know a lot of people have seen this video, but leading up to the Olympics, they did a lot of like press with Michael Phelps, with other people to promote it. And one of the things they did is an interview with Michael Phelps, and they show him, I think her name is actually Kate. It's an Australian swimmer on their local like Today show.
Oh, yeah.
And she talks about how she hates when America's like, USA, and we ring our bell. And she's like making fun. She's like, oh, the best was when we didn't have to hear the Star Spangled Banner, play because we won or whatever. And Michael Phelps was like, oh, I'm sorry. Did that like, he just was like, this? He goes, man, I want to get in the pool right now. Like, this would fire me up.
I think Australia
was ready to go.
I know a handful of Australians. They're very nice people. But I think Australia has always disliked America Because they're just a shittier version of America.
They
right?
got cool accents.
They were a former colony around the same time we were, and they're just like, they're not as good at things.
Look at them. They're right here, though.
As we are.
On my map.
And plus, all of their animals will kill you. Right? They've got the giant spiders.
Kangaroo will knock you out.
Kick the shit out of you. Right? It's America with badass animals that will kill you.
It's a little bigger than I thought.
It's just not as good.
It's bigger.
It's a very big country.
They have the East Australian current goes through there.
Yeah. Sorry, you're just a worse version of America.
All right. Well, I would like to visit, so let's not shit on it too much.
No,
they're going to ban us. No, they're going to ban us.
I think it's a beautiful country.
They have every right to literally be like, you can't come here.
I'm just saying the reason Australians don't like America is they feel it's the same reason, no offense to Philadelphia, it's the same reason Philadelphia doesn't like New York.
Because who's going to go there?
It's a worse version of New York. It's a great city still, but when you compare yourself to number one, you're always going to be mad.
We have to go to a wedding.
And again, I love Philadelphia.
We not have to. It is our friend's wedding in December in Philadelphia. And we were going to fly directly into Philadelphia, but for some reason the flights were like $1,000 more.
There aren't a lot of good Seattle to Philly flights. Yeah. It's not a common route.
They're not helping themselves out there.
Why? Because Seattle people can't go there?
I would just fly to New York then and say, never mind.
No.
And that's what we're doing.
Let's see. Fred said he's going to be in
That's
Australia for the 2032 Summer Olympics.
Okay. I was looking at prices for Olympic events yesterday because we're talking about the next Olympics in LA, 4 years. I'm like,
USA, USA, USA.
Yes. Yeah. Give me the cowbell.
Let's go.
So I'm like, well, we can drive there because if flights are $8 billion, doesn't matter. We'll hop on the Pacific Coast Highway. I'll finally get to live out my dream of doing that road trip, and then we'll stay with your cousin.
Yep. I
said, well, what are prices for these events? Those are like $50, like $100 to go see a basketball game. No, $1,000.
Yeah,
$1,000.
I'd love to go see the Olympic men's basketball team, especially next year because it'll be a whole new batch of players next Olympics. Because LeBron's not going to be there. Steph most likely won't be there. KD won't be there.
Booker might be.
Devin Booker will probably be the captain of that team, or Anthony Edwards. Anyway, I'd love to go see that event. I don't need to see the event.
Yeah, because you can go see them really anywhere.
I need to go see the Olympic 4x4.
That'll be at SoFi Stadium, though.
It might be at the Coliseum, because the Coliseum still has a track. That's the original track.
I think they said it's at SoFi.
The track and field events?
Oh, no, then where's soccer?
Probably SoFi.
Or
what's the other one? There's, not Banco Popolata. There's, it's wherever LAFC plays.
Okay.
It's not SoFi.
They'll probably put the swimming events inside whatever the arena is, or gymnastics will also be in there. Anyway.
Yeah.
I'm not spending $1,000.
No, but what event would you pay for? What event, if it was $1,000 still?
I want to see track and field in real life. I want to understand how fast they're running.
Yeah.
In my eyeballs, not through the TV.
That's just, for me, as a track kid growing up and going to some of the biggest track events in the world when I was in college, that's always been the pinnacle of sport for me.
The 100.
And the 4x4 specifically. I know that the 4x1 is a fun event to watch. It just goes by so quickly.
Yeah, I would just like, how much does it cost if I just want to watch the 100 meter? For 13 seconds, how much do I got to pay?
You pay by the second?
I want to see the 100 meter because that was the 100 and the 200, those were my races. Mm-hmm. I hated the 400. You want me to go around the full time?
I did everything from the 100 to the 800 minus hurdles. I never did hurdles. And the 800 I only did a handful of times in an actual competition. The 400, as a high school kid, once you learn to run it, it's the most painful event you're going to run, but it's so much fun.
Gag.
It's so much fun because the 4x4 specifically, where it's a relay event, you have 4 people running the same exact distance. It's usually the final event of a track meet. So a lot of times you're figuring out if you're going to win that track meet based on that one event. And everyone's there, everyone's watching it. It's just the pinnacle.
Okay, so a few things have happened. Marijuana, great point, and yes, we will do this. Can we do recaps and write the trip off as work?
Sure.
Yes, we definitely can.
I guess we could, yeah.
We could write off anything, technically.
Not anything.
If you post about it.
Also, if you're watching from the IRS, we don't
We actually
write
suck
off
at
everything.
writing things off. But where is it? Fred said that his friend's daughter is currently competing in the Olympics representing Puerto Rico. It's costing him $700 a day to watch her dive.
She doesn't get to get free tickets or something?
No, I don't think they do.
Athletes don't get free tickets? I guess you'd have, if every athlete that was competing in a venue got free tickets, and every coach got free tickets as well, and the trainers, like, you'd end up with the whole venue being packed, I guess. So that might be a little difficult. But that is really cool. What's her name so we can cheer her on?
Yeah.
Also, and Fred might be able to explain this, why does Puerto Rico not compete as America? And I understand that there are often times where the American government doesn't treat Puerto Rico like it's part of America.
They did get paper towels a few years ago, though.
Thrown at their heads by the former president.
I wonder if it's also, there's just a better chance to get to compete when you're like, well, I'm just going up against the other people in Puerto Rico.
Maybe. And I'm not saying they should or should not compete independently.
I feel like I don't remember seeing that before this year.
Let's see. Angela said I was wondering the same thing about Puerto Rico and the U.S. athletes because they're going to have to play, I believe, on Saturday in basketball.
It's a territory, not a state, but they have the ability, I believe, as athletes to compete under America.
Fred said that his friend's daughter's name is Macy Vieta, so we gotta all cheer for Macy. Hong Kong does the same thing, but Hong Kong, aren't they somewhat independent of China? I don't know enough about the politics of Hong Kong, but I do know that Taiwan, the only reason they're allowed to compete independently of China is because they compete under the banner of Chinese Taipei.
Yes.
Because China doesn't want people acknowledging Taiwan as a separate country. It's weird when you get into the political aspect
and then you put it on a stage
of the Olympics. I mean, there's also a lot of people that are complaining right now that, generally speaking, part of the Olympic rules are basically that you can't attack another Olympic participant 2 weeks before, during, or 2 weeks after the games. And
country-wise,
you can't, which is, I believe, why Russia isn't competing under their own banner. They have the athletes from Russia, but they're not competing as Russia. But then people go, okay, well, what about Israel?
Yeah.
What about all these other countries that are fighting? And it just becomes this whole political thing. Let's see. So Lacey said that because Puerto Rico is a Commonwealth, they get the benefits, but are technically a separate country, which is why they can compete independently.
Meg said there's a girl from Long Beach, New York swim team, and she's swimming for Puerto Rico.
Cool.
Her parents are from there. So she's from New York, but
her parents are from Puerto Rico.
Right.
That makes sense. Yeah, I think you're allowed to be 2 generations removed now.
For Olympics?
Mm-hmm. Something like that. Real quick, we're going to take a break and then we'll continue the Olympics conversation a little bit, and then talking about quitting from home. Then let's get back to it. So.
Well, can I do my Olympic question? I don't remember if we see. Sometimes Anthony and I don't talk in real life because we save things for the show. And then when we talk in real life, I don't know where we had the conversation.
Okay.
My question to Anthony was, what Olympic sport, if you were to start training now, do you think you would be able to? I'm not even saying medal in.
Okay.
I'm just saying, do you think you'd be the best at compared to yourself in all the other sports?
A Summer Olympic sport? And I'm training today, right? This isn't like I can't go back and be like, oh, well, I was a college javelin thrower.
You start training today for LA. And again, I'm not talking like I'm going to medal. I'm going to beat people. Just what would you be the best at in comparison to the other Olympic sports?
I don't know.
Nope, it's got to be summer.
Because if it was winter, I would say the snowboard cross event.
But we're not
doing that. So
No, you can't say zero, Martha. You
have to pick one.
There has to be one sport that you would be better at than the other ones.
Here's the thing. Right? I'm in my 30s. Mm-hmm. I am going to discount all of the track ones. Even though I was a track and field kid growing up and I was very fast and I threw the javelin pretty well, I can't train today to compete with people who would be competing in 28.
You just
What?
That wasn't the question.
No, I'm trying to think.
It wasn't about competing against other people. You're competing against yourself.
Oh,
Which
then
sport?
Than any of them. That's silly.
Which sport out of all of the sports would you be the best at in comparing yourself?
This question doesn't make a lot of sense.
No, it does. Just because you think you have to compete against other people all the time.
That's what the Olympics are about.
We're not doing that. Which sport would you be the best at?
Probably javelin then.
Yeah, okay. There's your answer. Thank you for coming.
I was a Division I javelin thrower. I'm stronger now than I was in college. I'm more patient now than I was in college. I take better care of myself now than I did in college. I'd probably throw the javelin really well.
Now, if it was a sport you haven't done before, like if you had to do one of the new ones.
I'd pick a horse sport. And I don't know how, because I know like if you're a jockey, you're supposed to be really small, right? Like I'm too big and too heavy to be a jockey. I don't know if that's the same for like equestrian.
You're just making the horse do all the work.
Yeah, but I figure if I had to learn something now, I would just learn how to tell the horse what to do. Right? Like that seems like the easiest route.
Okay.
It's not going to be a swimming or surfing event. It's not going to be breakdancing.
Horse dancing, Martha said.
Yeah. If I just have to like direct the horse and it hops up and down and stuff, like at medieval times, the little halftime show they do.
Oh, you got the crip walking horse.
Yeah. So I would probably pick a horse event if it was an event that I never did ever before.
Fred said, I would love to try hammer throw or archery. Archery would be good.
The hammer is tough.
Archery looks so much easier, but then you get that bow and arrow in your hand. We did it at adult summer camp.
Yeah.
And I was like,
I also don't think people realize how much strength you need to pull those professional bows back. It's crazy. And to hold it there and like, I'd be screwed.
Wait.
What about you, Carla Marie?
Table tennis is a sport.
No, not a chance.
I could do it.
No way. I mean, yeah, you could play table tennis, but
pickleball?
not at a high level. Pickleball's not an Olympic sport yet. I guarantee you by like the 2040s.
It'll be gone by then.
No, it'll be a sport. Next thing.
Mine, I've been thinking about this a lot, to be honest. It's none of the swimming things as much as if I had to compete against you, I would beat you in all the swimming.
Everyone would. I'm not a good swimmer.
Is there gymnastics that's just dancing?
Breakdancing?
No.
What do you mean? Is there like cheerleading?
Oh, that's in 2028. Damn.
So would you be able to do cheerleading?
In 2028.
I don't think you'd be able to do what these cheerleaders are doing these days.
I don't have to. Not everyone has to flip.
So you would just be the base?
Okay.
What do you call them?
To lead up to the 28 Olympics for cheerleading, you and I will do some cheer stuff.
Okay, but that's not the question.
Yeah, I would be a base.
Okay, so you think... But back to the question you asked me.
Now.
If it's a sport you've never done before, so cheerleading's out.
I think surfing.
Get out of here. Get out of here.
If I were to start training now.
I'm not saying that you couldn't get up on a surfboard.
And ride a wave. They're only 6 feet tall waves.
You're not even 6 feet tall.
The highest waves anyone ever surfed is 93 feet. Yes. I'm not saying what these people isn't doing are...
Stop it.
I'm not saying what these Olympians aren't doing. What are doing isn't hard. I'm just saying I could get on a wave and surf it in Tahiti.
Yes, you could probably surf a wave, but that shouldn't be the standard, right? Because then, yeah, you could finish a mile run. So why didn't you pick the mile run?
Because you said a thing I've done. I ran.
Have you ever raced the mile?
5K.
That's a 5K marathon.
But here's the thing: I would rather learn how to surf than have to run a mile. So,
I think. I'm too scared to surf, honestly.
There's
sharks out there.
Not there.
Not where?
In Tahiti.
There are sharks in Tahiti. Mm. And in America in 2028, it'll probably be done in Hawaii. There's definitely sharks in Hawaii. There's got to be.
Martha said I would drown in all the water.
Yeah, there's not a chance.
Okay, surfing or diving, what are you doing?
Oh, man.
Because I'm not going off that board. No way. And flipping. Not happening.
Is there like at the pool, the public pool that I used to go to in Ridgewood?
No, 9-foot board.
There was like the high dive and the low dive. Is there a low dive sport? It's all high dive stuff, huh? I would have to do a swimming event, like whatever the shortest swimming event is. I would do that and just flail until I got from one end to the other.
This wasn't the question. I said if you had to dive or surf.
Oh, or surf. I thought or swim. Dive.
You would dive?
I would dive. Yeah. I mean, I'd end up belly flopping. I'd end up really hurting myself, but at least I'm not out there surfing with the sharks. There's no chance.
Oh, there is also speed walking in the Olympics. They look so insane, though.
Well, we have
My
a
hips
friend.
would kill.
We have a friend whose family is out here. They're originally from Seattle, I believe. And it's a whole family of like professional and Olympic speed walkers. Ooh. It's our friend Tisha.
They're speed walkers?
Yeah, her uncle was an Olympic speed walker, and her grandmother owns basically like one of the local running stores around here.
Founded.
Is it Super Jack and Jill? No, what is she own?
Super Jock and Jill.
Yes.
She founded it.
So her family was like professional and Olympic speed walkers.
I don't think I would like that.
Which is a wild sport.
I think my hips would just bust out.
They would hurt a lot.
Because they just... Wait. To go back to surfing very quick, I keep seeing misinformation out there.
About surfing?
Yeah, about this specific spot. And the only reason I know this fact, and maybe they were wrong, but the Olympic announcers were talking about it. So everyone keeps saying, oh, it's so dangerous, these waves. They're known as the Tia. This part of Tahiti is called Tia Opo. I'm saying that wrong.
Okay.
Which translates to Wall of Skulls.
Oh.
And everyone's like, these waves, they're so dangerous, which they are. They're like right on top of coral reef.
Oh, yeah.
They translate to Wall of Skulls. No, the announcers were saying everyone thinks it means the wave. If you go back in ancient time and you look at the history of this island, it was the two tribes were fighting, and the one tribe basically killed the other tribe, took all their heads, put them on sticks, and created a wall of skulls to ward off any other enemies.
Yeah,
so that area became named after that.
I guess if I was like a raiding party, if I was like a Viking or a pirate or something, and I rolled up on this island and they had a wall of skulls, I would most likely turn around.
And I was like, everyone's like, oh, the Wall of Skulls, waves. And I'm like...
Still a badass name.
It is a badass name.
Still a place I wouldn't surf like all the places in the world.
Yeah.
Because I would assume when they do the Olympics in LA, I know you could still surf in Southern California.
Because that's what I used to see at Hollister. It was Huntington Beach on the screens.
And I know they do surf competitions there. I just feel like it would make more sense to go to Hawaii. It's not that far of a flight. It's not as far as France to Tahiti.
No, it's not.
But we'll see. Have they announced where they're doing it? Where they're doing surfing in 2028?
I'm looking right now. Okay, they have approved surfing in 2028. Because every year, every time they have...
Yeah, all the 2028 Olympics are already decided. All the sports. Coast to Coast Kiara said they have not announced where surfing will be.
They're probably...
Nothing?
Oh, it's new in the Olympics. I didn't realize that. Newish.
Okay. So, and then speaking of surfing, the last Olympic thing we'll have to talk about, the two best pictures so far that have come out of the Olympics, and I know we still have a long way to go. Clearly, the guy who won the surfing event.
Just standing in the air.
Did you see how the picture was taken originally? He knew he just crushed that wave, essentially. He ended up with, I believe, the highest single wave score in Olympic history, which, again, pretty new for surfing. But at the end of the little tube of the wave, he basically just jumped off his board and put his hand up in the air. And the picture that the photographer got is the board
standing straight up,
and him looking like he is just, it looks fake.
Yeah, it looks like he was photoshopped.
And they're both just airborne above the water in his celebration. It is one of the coolest pictures you'll ever see. The other, it's a great picture. It's a better video. But the rugby girl that threw the other one up in the air to catch the ball, oh, you got to see this one. And she's like holding her by the shorts.
Oh, that's what they do.
Yeah.
The craziest thing to me about surfing, when comparing it to the other Olympic sports, is that it's not just your talent and skill. you better hope that you did all the nice things to Mother Nature to give for her to give you a good wave, because it's it's the one Olympic sport. I know you can be a windsurfer or whatever. I don't think that's in the Olympics this year. It is the one Olympic sport where it's whatever you get. I mean, there was one point in the competition they actually added time to the one heat because not a single good wave came in.
Let's see. Can we see the surfing pic as well?
Sure.
Okay, let's see. Surfing, Olympic winner.
Photo is right
picture.
there. Picture. Who says picture?
I don't know. I do.
Photo. What's his name? See? You put photo and it came up.
Okay. So NPR has this one. I'm going to have to find. Like, this is the coolest picture of all time. Let me pull this up on
If
the
you
screen.
showed that to George Washington, he would be like, which?
Like, this is insane. If you showed any picture, by the way, to George Washington, he'd be very confused.
He didn't have
He'd say, how did someone paint that?
Renaissance.
So that is the swimming picture, or
cute.
the surfing picture, I should say. That,
like, how did he have I'd be holding my nose at that point knowing I'd be going in the water.
it's just so cool. Now, let me hide that for a second and see if I can find. Does anyone know the rugby team? Yeah, I thought that picture was photoshopped as well.
No, because when you watch the video, you see him do it.
Does anyone know the rugby team? I know they were wearing green shorts.
The water. Do you know what the water temp is there?
75?
80.
80.
That is toasty.
Rugby.
How do you say it?
Olympics. 2024. Let's see if this comes up. Sorry, this isn't the most riveting thing to do right now, but also the U.S. rugby team.
Tea'opa'o.
What?
I'm trying to pronounce it.
Oh.
Tea'opa'o.
I can only get pictures. Oh, let me type in women's, maybe.
Are you kidding?
Why can't I find this picture?
What is it? Go to you. Sometimes you have to go to like the news side.
Yeah. All right.
Hit
I will
news,
try.
hit news.
Hit news.
Did anyone else see it? Did they know the name of the person?
Oh, let's see that. Let's check the chat.
Aaron King from Ireland.
Okay, I will. Thank you, marijuana. Let me copy that.
Thank you, Jen. Oh, there you go. In photos,
Here it is. What are you all mad
about? The top
about?
thing had all the cool photos.
So this picture is what?
Right.
Oh. There's a lot of pop-ups on the screen.
Oh
God damn it.
God.
Yo, Ireland, relax with your pop-ups, bro. There's a million things just popped up on our screen. All right.
Holy hell.
This picture is one of the most badass pictures.
What is that girl in the red doing?
Trying to defend.
Push her over? Can you do that?
Well, it was basically a jump ball, but in rugby you're allowed to
that's a jump ball.
pick your teammates up.
It.
No.
Wait.
So that ball is coming down.
She caught it.
And she caught it like that. She jumps up. Her teammate kind of pushes her butt up by the shorts.
How did they get her back down?
So that's the craziest part is those shorts didn't rip, first off.
No, they're like insanely durable.
The player that's holding her up keeps holding on, and eventually the player that caught the ball is like on her back, and then eventually gets down. But that is just one of the most badass things.
Where's the video?
Jesus Christ, you're gonna make me find a video. Ireland's gonna make me watch 18 ads to see this thing. I'll see if I can put the video up in a second.
Hold on.
Yes.
So rugby is cheerleading with balls.
Sure. Sure, Carla Marie.
I don't understand why you won't let us do partner stunts. All I've ever wanted my whole life was to have someone who I could just be like, partner stunt, and you just pick me up.
Yeah, no, I'm busy that day. I would. I really would.
I have to lose like 30 pounds for you to be able to do it, to be honest.
Okay, here, let me...
We're going to jail.
I'll turn the sound off. I'll go back. Let me put this on the screen. There's a lot of things I got to do to get this on the screen.
If you click it, you can play it from there.
Yeah.
Not from the website. Just look better.
Like, that is insane. And then she keeps holding. She keeps holding, keeps holding, keeps holding.
Shut the...
My shoulders would be ripped from the socket Do you understand that?
Do
My
they
shoulders,
practice this?
both would be dislocated if I did that.
Do they practice being like, okay, when you get, like, is number 12 who's in the air, she's flinging her legs back forward right now?
I know that they obviously practice picking each other up and stuff, but yeah, Has
they been interviewed about that?
I'd be armless. I'd have no more arms.
My whole body.
I'd be like boneless wings.
My whole body hurts today, and I barely lifted yesterday.
So those two moments, in terms of like the pictures and the videos, are two of the best.
Have they been interviewed about that? I would love to hear their Irish accents talk about it.
I'm sure they have been. I'm sure the Irish website that I went to will make me watch 18 ads and then give me 12 viruses just to watch the content. But
all those potatoes in Ireland.
Last thing we're going to talk about today, and this will be kind of quick before we get out of here for the day. There was a Fox Business article that came out, and apparently this was all from Bamboo HR. They published this report saying that in interviews with vice presidents, HR departments, and C-suite executives, most of them, after the pandemic, it's not over necessarily, but after the height of the pandemic and the work from home thing started ending, a lot of the return to office mandates were meant to get employees to quit. Because if you quit, your company doesn't owe you like severance or anything like that.
But it was under the guise of production and unity of getting people back to the office.
So they were saying that 1 in 5 HR professionals said their in-office policy was intended to make workers quit. And then 28% of remote employees said they would consider quitting if their jobs required them to return to being in office full time.
No one should have answered that yes, because then they would have never done that.
But it just shows like all of those C-suite executives are like, oh, we need our office culture and blah, blah, blah. No, they just wanted you out.
And that what's annoying about that is they said that narrative of we want people back in the office. And then it also turned into, it wasn't just we want people in the office for productivity and was it nudity? Unity. It also flipped the opposite of, there was this negative side of it. Of if you worked from home, you were a terrible person, you were lazy, you weren't doing the job, you didn't deserve the money, like all this stuff. Yeah. So it was this constant like, oh, I have to get to the office or I have to quit this company. There was like this double-sided thing that was happening, and none of us really ever thought it was truly for productivity.
It's funny because I don't think it's productivity, because very early on in the pandemic, when everything was remote, a lot of companies said they were more productive. Their employees were more productive from home than they are in the office.
Yeah.
I do agree that there's like a work culture thing you want, right? You want your employees to be able to collaborate, not just on a screen, because there's a lot of research that shows like Zoom is not the best way to conduct meetings or conduct collaborative teamwork. But it is funny to finally see this coming out, that a lot of these C-suite executives are, I think the most polite way to say it is lying sacks of shit.
I mean,
no, and listen, if you're a C-suite executive and you watch this show, maybe you're one of the good ones. But they just wanted everyone or a lot of their employees to quit, because a lot of companies did overhire towards the end, because there was so much work that needed to get done to get things back to normal. And it made sense for them to try to say, okay, well, if we can get people to quit, instead of firing them and owing them severance or whatever, maybe we can do that. And then it turns out, further into this Fox Business article from this study, that it backfired, and too many people quit, and too many of the good employees quit, because the good employees knew they could get work wherever they wanted. Yeah. So it ended up backfiring on a lot of these companies as well. So it's another reason to always remember that the people that are in the trenches with you are your friends. The people that are dangling the carrot in front of you from their executive offices, those people don't care about you at the end of the day.
But we're all family.
Yeah.
We're a family here.
But yeah, it was just a very fascinating
I saw
article.
that too, and I was like, yeah, no shit.
I would suggest everyone just Google Fox Business, I don't know, work from home, quit. Put those words in and it'll come up. But that's why you never trust the executives. And listen, if you work for a small business, that's different. But if you're working for a giant corporation, like a multinational corporation, they don't care. They don't care.
No.
You got to protect yourself, and you got to protect the people who are in the trenches with you. Mm-hmm. Class warfare, motherfuckers.
Yeah, I think how often we were like, oh, we're all a family.
Oh my God, the amount of times you hear, we at iHeart would hear like, oh, but you're part of the family. We're going to protect you. We're going to take care of you. Shut up. No, you're not. The other thing we would hear, and this is different in our industry, but I guarantee you everyone in our industry at some point has heard it. It's like, but we want to be in the Carla Marie Anthony business.
Wait, have we talked about this on here? So yes, that would happen to us all the time.
Like every 2 or 3 months, someone would bring that phrase up.
Okay. I talk about how the morning show on Apple TV, Jennifer Aniston, Reese Witherspoon, now John Hamm, like huge names, great show, gives me major PTSD watching it. I'm a little bit better now. I struggled in the beginning. We were still on the radio when I started watching it, and the anxiety I felt watching it. At one point, they say, we want to be in the Alex Levy business.
And who is Alex Levy?
Jennifer Aniston.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh my God. They did so much research for this show.
Yeah.
They really did. I know that Jennifer Aniston went to the Today Show and basically, not on air, behind the scenes. It was like they're filming the Today Show and Jennifer Aniston's just like taking notes for the longest time.
Imagine Jennifer Aniston shadowing you at work.
And
an intern.
But I think they had to interview them, like, what are things executives say to you? Like, man, I'm watching, I'm like, I was never on national TV show, and this it perfectly describes the broadcast business.
I'll never forget, actually, one of the market presidents that would be in a lot of our meetings and whatever with us. And I don't think he's a bad person, but he's a guy who would often say, I can't wait to be at your table at your Radio Hall of Fame induction.
Me too.
Is the same guy who, when he was firing us, said, if it was up to me, I probably wouldn't have hired you. Those two things came from the same person.
Yeah.
Also, he's someone who used to say, I'm in the Carla Marie Anthony business.
They don't know what they're saying.
No.
They're just saying whatever. They're all scared for their jobs. They're all squeezing their butt cheeks super tight every day, and they're just saying whatever they think they need to say in that moment to appease you. And I learned so much from that whole experience of if we ever have employees or ever work in an office again where we work with a team, of what not to say to people.
Well, and here's the thing. And I think people oftentimes will say, oh, like maybe you're jaded because you were let go. And that's probably part of it. But it's also important to realize when someone says something nice to you, it doesn't mean they're lying.
No.
It just means, especially from their perspective, if they're like a market president or a VP or whatever, if there's someone who has to look at spreadsheets at the end of the year and figure out how to make budgets work, they might actually like you. And they might mean all of those things. They may have actually wanted to be in the Carla Marie Anthony business or whatever they said. But at the end of the day, they're going to make the decisions to cover their asses. And it doesn't mean don't appreciate the nice things or people that want to work with you or anything like that. It just means, remember, they are nice today because it's most likely convenient. Yeah. The second it becomes inconvenient or there's any sort of friction, they're probably going to say goodbye to you. You're going to end up as a name on a spreadsheet that ends up deleted.
And sometimes it's because they have to do that too. It's not...
Exactly.
They didn't make that rule. I know that when you say spreadsheet, I think of... It wasn't always like this, but it got to a point at our former company where there was basically like a company-wide spreadsheet of every on-air person, their salary, and how much money in like commercials and endorsements they brought in.
Yeah.
Meaning not like if My Pillow came in and spent $10,000 on the radio station and I was the endorser, I was the one talking about it on the air, that 10,000 was a good point for me. Whatever. You had to be, I forget what it was, either a certain percentage of your salary or
2.5 times, I think.
Or more than your salary. You had to be, but guess what? What they were forgetting is they were just firing on-air people because you weren't reaching that number. But guess whose job it is to bring in endorsements?
It's usually their job.
Not me.
The market president.
It's not my job to go pay. It is my job to be relatable and to talk to the client if you bring them in and you know.
And this is very this is obviously.
So we really were there was a red line on that spreadsheet and you were below that line. You were told, hey.
You could be on the chopping block. Yeah.
It's crazy.
There's a great quote. Fred the Mailman said, "I tell the newbies, you're just another rubber band. They'll replace you as soon as they break you. Don't stretch yourself too far." It's true. And I love this. It's Liz from Gettysburg said, "My old boss used to straight up tell me we were replaceable. I guess they were at least honest." I mean, yeah. There's sometimes where if a boss tells you the truth, believe him.
I mean, everyone is replaceable. So.
Yeah, there's that one quote I feel like that goes around pretty often. It's like something along the lines of, if you died tomorrow, your job will have a job posting to replace you by the end of the week.
Yeah.
Which, listen, and that doesn't mean they're evil. They're doing what they have to do, but you are a piece of the puzzle. And that piece can be reordered and replaced at some point. That's it. So it's important to just have that perspective when you're going through things at work. It doesn't mean you don't work hard. It doesn't mean you don't respect the people you work with. It just means understand at the end of the day, it is a job. And they're going to make decisions just like you're going to make decisions. And that's about it.
Meg asked a great question that we have to answer because if we don't, this is not to you, Meg, it'll probably end up on the Elvis Reddit thread that we ignored this question and then
we end up on the Elvis Reddit thread?
I've heard we're on there a lot.
I didn't even know there was a Reddit thread.
Oh, it's great. Meg said, can we talk about the EDMS family, Elvis Duran in the Morning Show family? Are you guys actually a family off air too? Yeah. I've always wondered since you say that often. I mean, it's proof. Like I've been in Sam's wedding. Mm-hmm. Sam comes and stays with it. Like Sam is.
I was on vacation with Andrew for a week.
Exactly. So
a month, not even a month ago.
It's not that we all 30 of us hang out together. We just
like every family, there are people you're closer with. Mm-hmm. There are people you're not as close with. Like I am close with Garrett, but I don't talk to Garrett every month.
Right.
But when we do talk, we are very close and we care very much about one another.
Yes.
Same with Josh. I don't talk to Josh all the time, but like Ronnie, who used to work for Elvis's show.
Yep.
We're on a call with Ronnie later because he's on a podcast project now that he wants to put us on.
Cool.
So it's one of those things where, you might not talk all the time. I know you and Sam talk often, and I talk to Sam pretty often as well.
Yeah. Well, and Danielle. Obviously, like Danielle and her whole family stayed with us for 5 days last year for the All-Star game because that like we in that case, like, yes, we are very much family. Like we're friends with the kids and Sheldon. Like, I'll text Sheldon on his birthday that it's his birthday, and like he has a nickname he calls me Charlie Marie. Like we're all very close, but again, I don't talk to all of my friends every day.
I mean, Scary is someone who I don't talk to Scary. I probably could go 6 months without talking to Scary, but then there are times where I'm on the phone with him for 45 minutes, and when we're in New Jersey, if we're in the area, he will make sure that he sees us.
He will yell at us if he does not see us.
Yeah. So it's different with every single person. Mm-hmm. There are some people who we just talk in memes. We just send memes back and forth.
Or looking like Ricky and Jake. Yeah. Right? Ricky was never a full-time employee at Elvis' show.
She was just an intern, right?
She was an intern and then got hired by the company to do some other work, but was never a full-time employee. Ricky's one of my best friends. We talk literally almost every day.
And Jake.
And Jake. Yeah. Like
Elizabeth, who else? Yuritsa. There's a bunch of people who like probably don't even come up when you first think of that morning show family. Yeah. But they're part of it.
It's cool. We are very lucky to have that group of people.
I mean, even Elvis, it's not like I talk to Elvis every week or every month or even every 6 months. But when we talk, he's someone that I would go to war for.
Yeah, he'll randomly
and he always has our backs.
Yeah.
So, why did that come up?
We're talking about iHeart family. And it's different when same thing how like.
And I still have people at iHeartRadio that I absolutely love. EJ, who is probably on in your city somewhere. He's on like every station in America at some point. He's based in LA right now. He's from New Jersey. One of my best friends.
He's the best.
Mike D, who works for Bobby Bones' show. One of my best friends.
Morgan.
Huh?
Big Morgan fan.
Oh yeah. I mean, there are, but I'm just saying like the people that I do speak to often. And they're still at the company. And I still want them to do well within the company.
And how you were saying like class warfare and the people you're in the trenches with are, that's like the Elvis show is an example of that, where like we're all in this together kind of thing. Same thing with our show with like Evan in Alabama. When we talk about complaining about things that are less job, we're not talking about them.
No.
We're talking about management.
All of the people that I would say that I have an issue with maybe at the old company are people you would never know.
Yeah, no.
Right? Anyone that has like a public-facing job, we're all pretty good. And it's funny because those are the people that they try to get you to compete against or to have rivalries with, because it's in their benefit if you don't get along, right? If Carla Marie and I don't get along as coworkers, or Alabama and I don't get along, and they can play our salaries against one another. They can pit our personalities against one another and make us dependent on them.
They hated
and they
that
did.
We got along.
They absolutely hated it.
Literally, we were told. We were flat out told it would be so much easier if you guys didn't just tell each other everything.
It's one of the reasons that executives were so thrilled to hire Alabama. Was she was someone that we didn't know prior, because we knew Evan beforehand, so we were friendly with Evan at least. They wanted to put someone in there that, and keep in mind, we love Alabama, but they wanted to put someone in there that they could maybe have an in with that wasn't part of our clique, if you want to call it that. They wanted to have someone in there that they could pit us against if they needed to. Yeah. And they tried, and it didn't really work.
No. It was also like that moment, we had a moment of realization where we were being told things and Alabama was being told opposite things. And we were like, wait, but they said this to me. She's like, but they said this to me. And it was this moment of, we were about to be like, we're taking down this whole thing. Like, let's call it out. And then we got like a week later.
2 weeks later. Yeah. That was it. But it's funny because we never would have known that. We never would have known that we were all being told different parts of a story if we all didn't trust one another. If we all didn't understand that in the studio was the most important group we had.
And it wasn't like all, and I just say this just to be honest, it wasn't always daisies, and it wasn't always a prescription medicine commercial where you see people skipping and holding hands.
No,
like,
not at all.
We argued about things. We didn't always get like, but that's just what happened.
That still happens.
Elvis show. Like, we all like
that still happens.
It still does, yeah.
There's let's see. So Fred the Mailman is telling Martha that Ronnie's Bob Ross podcast is amazing, and that is the podcast we might be on.
Are you supposed to tell people that?
Yeah. We're not for
it's
sure
because
going to be on it.
We are so good at painting happy trees.
No, it's just we're not sure we're going to be on it yet, but we're going to discuss whether or not it makes sense for us to be on.
Do we have a call today?
Just to talk to Ronnie
Did
about
you put it on our
scheduling things.
calendar?
No. Because it's not a planned call. We just call him whenever we're free.
Oh.
So that's it. Anyway, we have rambled on long enough. Thank you very much for hanging out with us. We will be back here on Twitch Monday morning, but there are new episodes of the Morning Show podcast wherever you get your shows. Yes.
I'll be at Seahawks training camp tomorrow. If you're coming, let me know. And then Saturday, I'll be hosting at FanFest at Lumen Field. I also found out.
FanFest is pretty cool. I took my parents there last year.
It is very cool. I found out that there will be a zip line out in like the main concourse, not like through the field, which I was like, I wish, that you could do at FanFest.
That's pretty cool.
And I'm going to go and test it out, I think, early.
Is Blitz going to do it?
Probably not. Blitz does not love heights. It's kind of odd for a bird.
Yeah.
I've been trying to get him. He told me, you better be quiet and don't tell anybody that. I want him to do what the other like you see, I think Jacksonville Jaguars mascot dives into the stadium.
Yeah.
But apparently that rig alone is like $15K, and then you have to pay every game for a safety person to be there.
I hope so. I hope they're paying for a safety person.
But I was like, I will do it. I will jump off and I will be like, 12, welcome to Lumen Field, as I'm diving in.
Go for it.
So I'm trying for it.
You could be like, who was it? Not Katy Perry. Pink. Who does their whole show
Pink.
like spinning in the air?
That's
Is it Pink?
wild. That needs to be a documentary.
We are out of here. Thank you very much for hanging us. We'll see you on Monday.
Hanging with us. Please don't hang us.
Hanging with us.
You said hanging us. What are we, witches?